Welcome to Tellypathic, your visit to the world of episodic telly with a strong backbone of Star Trek. We are your two hosts who are mad about telly, Mark and Gary. Hi, Gary.
Hey Mark, how's it going, man?
All right, and this is Star Trek. We're
Hell
not
yeah.
just, we're back to base, right? Back to base. Your choice. We'll tell everyone about it. Tell everyone.
Yeah. So obviously we watched, if you're not watching in order, last episode we did Twin Peaks, which is a really good episode. We all love it. It was the pilot, and Ray Wise was in it. Um, and I thought, let's link up some Star Trek with what we talked about. And so I picked an episode with Ray Wise in it.
Yeah.
Which is this episode this week. So it was season 3, episode 4 of TNG. Who watches the Watchers?
Who watches an old Latin based on an old Latin statement, qui custodiet ipsos custodes, who watches the watchman, who watches
Nice.
the guards.
Not Watchmen. That's the Watchmen.
Yeah, no, but the phrase can be translated as
Oh,
watchers
can
or
it? To
watchmen,
Watchmen. Oh,
or
interesting.
watchers,
Yeah.
guards.
Hmm.
Who guards the guards, right? Things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Star Trek loves a bit of classical allusion, doesn't it? Loads of episodes have got Shakespearean
Hmm.
quotes,
That's right.
Conscience of the King. By any other name, one we've covered, things
Yeah.
like that, right? But yeah, this is one of those. Now, when you first talked about this, I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember a Railways one, but was he a Vulcan or Romulan? And you said, no, it's not that. But he is he's a proto-Vulcan. He's a race that's basically a proto-Vulcan race,
Yeah. Yeah.
that they say, right? And there
Mhm.
is lore in Star Trek about some older race seeding the universe.
Yeah, it's like 6 races that split, right? And
Yeah. That's
they
why they can
form.
interbreed. That's why, you can have half human, half Klingon, half Vulcan, half human, all that. All that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway. So
Anyway, yeah, we're
yeah.
off rails already.
Yeah. So, as you said, episode 4 of the season 3, 52nd episode in all of
Mm.
TNG. Interesting one. I kind of remembered it. Certainly, start as soon as I started watching, so oh yeah, I remember this.
Hmm.
Kind of mirrors a bit of the Insurrection movie, right? In some
Yeah,
respects.
yeah, there's a little bit of interaction in here.
Yes. In
Uh-huh.
terms of the
Yep.
initial setup, anyway, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so yeah, okay.
Let me just I'll go over the hierarchy of the episode real fast. So, long story short, the Federation have set up an oh goodness, how am I going to say this without looking like sounding like a fool? They're um an anthropologist. Can't
An
say it.
anthropologist,
An
yeah.
anthropologist
Yeah.
station. So,
Yes.
and they are observing a race that's in what in effect would be the human Bronze Age.
Yes.
They're on the planet. They're observing how they are being, and like Mark said, they're a race of proto Vulcans. And so they've been around for a couple of thousand years. They've ditched. Um, anyway, we'll talk about that later. But uh, long story short, this observation post that they've set up, they're doing a bit of bird duck nest watching, where they've set up a station that's literally right next to the village, and they've got a holographic projector sort of to make it look like it's just a piece of rock in the cliff.
Yeah.
That fails, and the Enterprise has been called to resupply them and fix their holographic projector, and that seems like it's going to be fine, but of course it's not fine. It explodes severely. Obviously turns it off, and the scientists are all messed up, and the Enterprise
Yeah,
sort of
one
lose
rolls down the
contact.
cliff and is found.
Yeah,
Another
he
one,
falls out the window. Yeah, he like
yeah.
literally
Well,
falls out the
he
observation
throws
window.
himself out. I thought
Yeah,
it's not clear. It's not clear. And
yeah,
then
he's trying to escape the
and another
explosion, right?
one kind of escapes and is disoriented too.
Yeah,
So
and so yeah, the Enterprise is sort of oh crap, we need to go and stop the situation. They get there, they teleport down. The scientists are great, grievously wounded. They start to teleport them up. And one of the natives, well, two of the natives see what's happened. They see this like blinking light up in the cliff, and they're like, "What's that?" They go check it out, and obviously they look inside, and they see the Enterprise crew teleporting up people to go save them. And one of them gets hurt, um, and gets teleported. I think it's Doctor Crusher
yeah,
teleports them back up to the
Crusher
Enterprise.
Crusher tries to do her best and teleports them up because that's the only
Yeah,
way she can save them.
yeah.
Picard's kind of brutal in this, isn't he? When he finds out about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. We'll get to it. We'll get to that.
Mm.
But yeah, he so this native guy sees the ship and he sees it. He's seen it all. So this is a Prime Directive episode. Um,
Mm.
and hijinks ensue. I guess this whole episode is about how this situation is resolved once the Prime Directive is kind of broken.
Yes.
And in case the audience doesn't know, we can talk about it a little bit later. The Prime Directive is where the Federation doesn't inject itself into another race's development for
Evolution.
good or
Yeah.
bad.
Cultural evolution. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
for
Which they
good or
do all the
bad.
time.
Which they
Let's,
do all the time. The whole show is
yeah,
about how it
yeah,
breaks
yeah.
all the time, right?
Original series constantly did this, but kept going on about how they didn't. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was fine. Yeah, and this is episode and how they deal with it. Uh, it, some stuff happens, and we will talk about it. But
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's up there, probably in my top 10 episodes, top 25
Yeah,
episodes, I think.
it's got a strong through line. There's no B plot, is there? No, there isn't any B plot, is there? It's just a
No, it's
plot,
one plot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they stick to it, and it fills the time well. It kind of all makes sense.
Yeah.
I
And
quite like this.
for my money, this is one of the best, if not the best, Prime Directive episode in Star
Yeah,
Trek,
I
I
kind of
think.
agree. I think the only other one that really strikes me as that, and it really isn't the focus of the episode, so this trumps it, is
Hmm.
the cage, where Pike
Oh, right.
is
Yeah,
taken back
interesting.
to that other planet, and well, is that a prime to it? It's about
Not
breaking it, but no,
really.
actually, no, it
Yeah.
isn't. It's breaking another Federation rule, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, it's a solid episode. It's really all about that. I like it because it's almost an inverse of some of the things they had in the original series. Where do you remember in the original series? There's one point where Kirk and the crew effectively meet the aliens that have presented themselves as gods on Earth. Um,
Oh, yeah. I
this is
remember that.
almost
Well, it's
like
just
a
one
flip
less.
side of that, right? Yeah, this is a kind of a
Yeah.
flip side of how these things might have started. There's lots of sci-fi literature about things coming to, fiction and I don't know, you can't really call it fact, but did aliens come to Earth and were they the gods we talk about?
Ancient Aliens. Yeah.
Von Daniken, yeah, aliens did it.
One of
Um,
the best comedic shows of all time.
yes, yes. So
Isn't it
there's
possible?
yeah, and yeah, this is that, right? This is kind of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
in a
exactly.
serious way.
Yeah, it's the perfect, in my opinion. Yeah, it's the perfect Prime Directive episode because you see it from both angles. You get presented the story from the Mintakans, which is the natural people that live on this planet, and from Picard's perspective of trying to uphold this ideal, but also save lives. He's conscious that there are lives at stake.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and
and then
well,
there's
it's not so concerned about the lives, is he?
he's
It's
well,
more
yeah,
concerned
yeah,
about the cultural impacts, right?
yeah, exactly.
So he
He's
does refuse to compromise on some suggestions made of how to deal with this because it's like we're not doing that.
Yeah, it's
It
very
just,
interesting. We'll talk about Picard in a bit, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
And then there's the Mintarkan side, which is like the fear and the unknown. And they've been presented as sort of a reasonable, logical race, and then they get thrust into this well, this theological idea of I've seen God. I
Yes,
saw him bring me back to life, and I was brought back to to my people. I must be a prophet. I must sort of teach them, and they've got this idea of an old god that was thrown away thousands of years ago,
yeah,
and it
and
reignites it. He's like,
yeah,
well, that could have been what I saw. It matches what
it matches
the
their
old
law, doesn't
words.
it? Somewhat.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can
He,
match
he
a lot.
feels it. He feels it, right? He kind of
Yeah, I think
it
it was a
must.
good choice to make it a proto-Vulcan race because that explains exactly why they rejected superstition very, very early in their cultural
Mm,
evolution. Right?
yes.
I mean, we human beings, thousands of years after, we're still wrestling with that, right? But this
Mm.
society have jettisoned and realised it's irrational and have jettisoned it. But
Yeah,
uh,
there was an interesting commentary from Picard and from the writers, I guess, in this whole where Picard is a really good it's a really good statement. He's arguing with one of the doctors who he saved because at the time, one of them like falls out the window like he's trying to escape. And he's arguing with Picard. He's saying, "Why don't you go down and just save him? They've already seen us. Just go down and send men and go find my friend, right?
yeah,
Who's lost on this planet. He's injured. He's potentially critically injured. He might even be dead. You need to go find him." And Picard's saying, "Well, no, I'm not gonna risk any more damage to the Prime Directive." And he's like, "Well, it's already damage."
mm,
And he argues that you know if we don't just fess up and say, "Hey, we're aliens," and give them some kind of direction, this could bloom into
religious,
religious inquisitions,
yeah,
into all of
religious,
the worst
yeah,
sides of.
religion,
And
yeah,
Picard's like, I won't let a race, I won't reintroduce a problem a race has already solved. He's talking about theology as a problem,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I thought was an interesting take from the writers, right? Like, you could debate forever about whether I think it's quite a serious debate about whether theology is good or bad for humanity or any race. But
yeah.
Star Trek makes the stance, or at least Picard's stance, very clear that he believes that it's nothing but trouble and it's a step backwards for a culture to be
Well,
having
it's
any
not
kind of religion.
just that. They've basically polluted the cultural evolution, and he wants to try and cut it off, right? Cut off that pollution.
Mm, yeah,
It's
it's
not
just the
going to
way he
make it
says.
worse. It's just making
Yeah.
it worse. Doing what the head of the team suggests just makes it worse. An odd suggestion, personally. It didn't quite ring true. I see it for the drama, and you need that for the drama, but
Mm,
it gives Patrick Stewart some powerful lines to deliver, right? A powerful stance. Um,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
interesting. Like when the Mintarkan first appears, Crusher goes out on her own. Once the accident happens, she goes outside of the observation, the window, I guess,
yeah.
goes and grabs this Mintarkan who's been injured, calls up to the Enterprise immediately. It's like emergency, medical emergency, take me to the sick bay. I need.
Yeah, and the daughter the Mintaka's daughter sees
Yeah,
her own father sort of disappear
yeah, with an alien, right? She's
with an
dressed in her
alien.
full, like she's not disguised in any way. She's just dressed in the normal. So she looks as alien as could be, right?
Yeah,
And then Picard shows up in the sick bay, and she's like, "Well, I couldn't just let him." He's like, "What the hell happened, Doctor?" And she's like, "Well, I couldn't just let him die." And Picard says, "Couldn't you?
no, he says, "Why
Why?
not?"
Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like you should have
yeah,
to
and
protect
I
the."
kind of see it. I kind of see it, but it's a bit callous.
It's
Um,
for me. It's a bit. I thought it was an interesting shade on Picard's character, because like you say. it gets constantly overwritten. The Prime Directive in Star Trek,
Yeah,
and he's immediately willing to be like, well, I don't care about this person's life, and I'm like, ah, Picard's not really like that.
yeah. It doesn't
He
quite ring
is,
true.
but he's yeah, it
It
was a
kind of
bit at
makes
odds with his character.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of, when film crews film animals in nature and they specifically try to not intervene, you know.
Yes,
But
yeah, yeah,
sometimes they do. They just can't not, if they can save an animal's life, they sometimes intervene. But it reminded me a bit of that. It's like, well, we're not supposed to intervene, it's
yeah.
kind of that.
Yeah, they
Um,
like positioned Picard in this episode as like the staunch Prime Directive. I play it by the book,
yeah,
uh, and that was fine for the episode. It worked, and it created good drama where we got to see Crusher as the Doctor being like, "No, obviously not. Like, I can't let him die. That's not who I am."
Yeah, Liko, Ray Wise's character Liko, actually does wake up and witness some of this and hears some of the discussion, understands what they're saying. We'll forget that. We'll invoke
Yeah, let's just say
The
this
Doctor
universal
Who rule.
translator
Yeah,
working
the
in the
Doctor.
med bay. Yeah,
Yeah. So he's kind of aware that Picard says, I'm looking for this so and so, look for this guy. But he also Liko gets the impression that they can bring back the dead almost, right? It's all
yeah, because he
powerful.
witnesses one of the Doctors being sort of revived.
Yes.
And Picard's ordering everyone around, and they're saying, "Yeah, yes, Captain Picard." And he keeps watching Picard, right? And he like locks onto Picard as like he is my savior.
Yeah. Some in
Yeah,
some respects, this bit reminded me of that episode of Firefly where there's a whole planet celebrating Jane as their rescuer.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
kind of had a touch of that, right? It's like,
yeah. I love that. Yeah, there's that moment in the episode where um, so instead of sending a whole party of down and just revealing themselves, Riker has a plan. He's gonna dress up as a proto Vulcan. Him and Troy are,
him and Troy, yeah.
and they're gonna try and go and find him themselves.
Yeah, and get him on his own so they can then beam him up, right?
That's
Just
right.
disappear.
And Pulaski gets mentioned. We talk about how she just kind of gets ghosted for the rest of she
Yeah,
gets
yeah, because
mentioned.
she did some stuff on someone to make them forget a short-term memory, right?
That's right. And so
So
they
that's
call
an
back to
interest.
that.
That is very unusual in Next Gen to have such a callback. It happens when there's a major character arc, some
Yeah.
characters, but Worf's callbacks are common, for example. However, just mentioning one particular procedure she used in an earlier episode. I was quite
Yeah.
interested. It's quite
Like
interesting.
one
Didn't
season ago.
expect it. Didn't expect it.
Yeah, and
Um,
you can count on one hand the amount of times Pulaski's mentioned after she
yes,
gets
yes.
X'd. But yeah, so yeah, even Crusher's like, yes, I'm aware of Pulaski's procedure, but it
But
might not
but their
work.
brain chemistry is different, and their levels of so and so hormone are different, and this that and the other. It might not work, but
Yeah. So they do
guys
it
like
and they
to
just
try.
send him back, and he obviously goes back and says, "Guys, I've just seen God."
I
And,
just think,
and
well, he
Picard and
starts
Troy
asking
walk in.
questions of an elder that's there about, did we used to believe this? And they said,
Yes.
and they were all powerful and they could bring back the dead and this, that, and the other. And he starts talking about, I've witnessed Picard, and they start talking about Picard, and so the village starts actually being convinced because
Yeah.
what he says, he mentioned it seems to come true, right? So it's not like he's because Troy's disguise, goes in and she said, "Oh, that's it could be you've had, you know, not a fantasy, a waking dream or something." And then his daughter says, "But I saw it too." And he goes, "Oh well, because you're in the same family, you could share it." It's like, which is nonsense. But these are
Yeah.
proto Vulcans. They're not going to be like fooled by stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're like, and the rest of the village start to get convinced, don't they? So
Yeah.
it's basically it's snowballing. The whole idea
Yeah.
is snowballing,
Yeah.
and Riker and Troy have communicators built into them, so people could hear what's going on around them. So because listening to all this, and
Yeah.
um,
I found God and his name is Picard. And then it like zooms in on Picard's face, like, "Oh."
Yeah, just to mention Ray Wise, then really good in this, wasn't he? I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like the entire
solid.
cast. I thought all of the cast was good. For the I mean, was it Mintaka
Yeah, yeah.
Tarkans? They were pretty good. Not so much the away crew. Not great, but they were all right. You know, they were all right.
Yeah, I liked, yeah, they were okay. I think Ray Wise,
Ray Wise was good.
uh he was just great. Yeah, he just it was seamless, and it's just funny. He always has it, uh he's got that sort of it's hard to explain.
Intensity,
Intensity, he's like that kind of confused, but he's good at that.
slightly
Whatever it
manic.
is,
You
slightly
know,
manic. Yeah,
not
yeah,
letting
that's
it
it.
go. Not letting it go.
Yeah, he's
Um,
great at that.
yeah, trying to convince others, but not falling over into people thinking, well, he's a nut, right? He's keeping it sane enough that people can be convinced.
Hmm.
So yes,
Yeah, yeah, he was good in it,
yeah,
and yeah, it's one of the reasons that the episode holds up because his character is core and he nails it. So yeah.
yeah. So they're looking for this other missing member of a team, Palmer, who they can't find, but it's because of well, technobabble, right? Some deposit of certain ore in there's a lot of it. They can't scan properly,
Hmm.
so they can't find it. And Lyko actually says, "Yeah, Picard was looking for the Palmer. I heard him
Yes, because he
say
overheard the
that."
conversation.
Yes,
Yes, so we should
yes,
find him
yes,
because that's what he wants. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
So yeah, so they start talking about the Picard. Yeah, I mean, you can see Picard getting angrier and angrier.
Yeah, this is like his worst nightmare, right? Like he
Oh God.
hates he hates everything to do with this situation.
Yeah, Troy and Riker actually lock up in a village in their disco. They get beamed down outside the village and walk in in
What do you
suitable
think of
clothing.
Riker's costume?
Yeah, that it's like a Beatles wig, right, or something.
It's insane.
I think he's borrowed one of Chekhov's early wigs, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of what's that James Bond where he's in the worst
Oh, you
disguise of
only
all
live
time?
twice.
Yeah, there's a
There's a
bit of
touch
that
of that.
going on.
I
There's
mean,
a touch
Troy's
of
is
that.
fine. Troy's is fine, but his
Yeah, his
hairpiece
is
is.
something
Yeah, it
else.
did make me because when the Walter Koenig joined the crew, his hair wasn't long enough, so he had to wear a wig for the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it really stood out. And then his hair got long enough, so he didn't have to anymore. But
Yeah.
I was thinking of kind of that. But yeah, you're spot on. It's definitely Sean Connery, and you only live
Sean
twice.
Connery's. Yeah, that's
Yes,
the first thing I thought of was Sean Connery, and I was like, oh no. But
yeah,
yeah, so yeah, it's an interesting plan. They teleport in, they say, look, we're just travelers.
yeah.
What's going on?
They don't use different names. I'm Riker, she's Troy, and everyone's fine with that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they try and sort of gently argue, no,
Can't be
it
aliens.
can't
No
be
shot. Can't
that.
be
It must
God.
be
Yeah.
something else.
Hmm.
And they try and sort of interpose themselves in it. And they even get to a point where they talk about Ray Wise saying maybe Picard wants him, and then Lyco's like, we should tie him up. But they all go off, and the elders left to tie up this old bloke, and Riker's still there. And he goes, we need to make a knot that gets tied to if you pull it. Give it to me. The next minute, he's tying up the old bloke and, and
Yeah.
gagging him. And it's like,
Yeah. So
sorry, my friend, I had to do this.
yeah. So
And
that's the plan. It's sort of like, can you? Because they're like, you found Palmer, just get him out. And Picard says no. He asks Riker, "Can you get him alone?" And they're like, "Well, not really." They're kind of all over it, and he's like, "Well, do your best."
do your best, yeah.
And so Troy sets up a distraction. Says, "Oh, there's something over." Yeah, I can't remember what she says. She says, There's some." Did she say she?
I can't remember. I can't
I can't
remember.
remember
She
what
does
she
cause
says.
it
She
though.
says some. Maybe
And
it's
Riker
a
basically
predator or something.
ties up. Yeah, and they've got
Drags
bows and
them all
arrows,
away.
haven't they, and stuff like
Yeah, drags them
that.
all away.
And Riker then basically lifts him up and carries him out of the village. Now, the second he's alone, they should transport, but that doesn't happen because this is.
Yeah, no, he's like running around with
But
him in the fireman's
yeah, and
lift,
and
trying
then
to get
and
him
then
alone.
a bloke's chasing him with a bow and arrow, and and all this.
Yeah, bit of drama, but he manages to sort of hide away. It was a quite good. I quite liked when he teleports away and the guy sort of misses him. You because we always hear as the audience the sort of sound of the teleporter, but
Yeah,
obviously in Star Trek there's no sound. He just kind of just disappears, right?
yeah,
And yeah, the guy misses him just. And then he obviously asks, "Where did Counselor Troy make it out?" And they're like, she's surrounded by Mintakans." And they're like, "Oh, damn."
yeah,
And obviously they're all like, "Well, why did you do that? Why did you trick us? Where's Riker gone? Why did you release the Palmer? Like
yeah,
Picard wanted him. Now he's going to be angry."
yeah.
Yeah.
So Troy's in the middle of it, and but she can still hear the captain, right?
Mhm.
But they've got Troy, and they're saying maybe we need to kill her to. I don't know quite follow the logic of this
Well,
to
a
please
lightning
the.
storm starts, right? And he's like,
Ah, yes, that's
and
it.
the, and they're all like freaking out, and they're like, "Hey, the Picard's angry. Like we had the Palmer, now we don't have him, and it's her fault. Maybe he wants us to punish her." And like he's losing it. He's doing that manic Grey Wise thing where
Yes, yeah, yeah.
he's
Maybe we
trying
gotta
to,
do this. Maybe we.
yeah, maybe this will work,
This.
right? And
Yeah,
everyone's trying to talk him down. Like nobody really wants to do that, but they're
yeah,
like
and
they can't really argue with him either because you
yeah.
can't argue with theology.
A specific interesting interaction is the head of the village, a woman called Nuria, kind of is skeptical at first, but she gets converted, doesn't she? Because
Oh, the
what
village
he
leader.
says
Yes, that's right.
kind of
Transpires and makes
makes
sense.
sense. It makes
Mm.
sense. So she's kind of, but then Picard, okay, we need to convince someone.
Yeah, he clocks that she has the most political power, right? She has the most
Yeah,
sway amongst the
and she
people.
seems a little less irrational than
Yeah,
like her
she
at this
seems
point.
skeptical, but like not fully.
Yeah, she's a
And
skeptic, which is right. What you need for something like this.
yeah, and
Um,
they target her to kidnap,
yeah,
basically.
but Troy kind of indicates, yeah, she's just behind me and all that kind of stuff. Um, so so they beam her up, and Picard meets her. Right.
Yeah, and I love this scene.
I
This
see some
scene's
great dialogue
awesome.
in this. Some
I
great
love this
dialogue.
dialogue. Yeah, this is one of the reasons I love this episode. So we kind of get this with Zephyr Cochrane's mate in uh
First contact.
is it First Contact? I can't remember
Yeah,
which film it is
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Where he has her mate and he shows her the planet. He's like, here you go. He steps her on the observation deck and he shows her the space. She's like, what the hell is this? It's like, well, this
yeah,
is what humanity's get right. He almost
yeah.
does the same thing, and I think they
Yeah,
stole it from this episode, really.
yeah. There's a touch
Um,
of that, and I do like how he explains step by step, appealing to her logic of, right, okay. And she's saying, one of your
I'm not God.
ancestors, he
Yeah.
had a bow. If you showed him a bow, they'd think it was magic. When it's basically the old, any technology sufficiently advanced is equivalent to
Appears
magic.
appears like
To,
magic. Yeah.
appears as magic. It's kind of that, and he does explain it. She seems to get it, but in the end, she starts talking about it and bringing back people to life and stuff like that.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So that's a really good thing. So, yes, it starts at Huts, right? And then he manages to explain like, hey, this is essentially just that it's us, but you'll get here eventually.
Yes.
And she's like, okay. And he's like, oh, I've done it, right? We've kind of got there. But then, like you say, she starts talking about, well, can you just bring everybody, like, somebody's died, a bunch of people died in a flood recently. Can you just bring them back to life? And he's like, well, no. And it was just, why not? You've achieved this. You can surely, the sky's the limit. You can achieve anything. And it's not until one of the doctors that they, teleported up starts dying in the sick bay where he has an idea.
She sees it, yeah.
He takes it and he's like, look, we for all our technical powers, all the things we've achieved, we can't beat the inevitable. Like we're still
Yeah, we
just as
can help
mortal
with
as
a
you are.
lot and we can avoid a lot, but we can't sort of delay things that are going to be, yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And there's some things we can't, we
and
have
that then it
limitations.
works for her, right? One of the things we haven't mentioned is, and it's kind of tied up with Leiko's kind of fervor, is his wife died.
In the flood. Yeah. She was one of
Um,
the six. That's right.
yes. And so he has this hope with his daughter. that Picard can bring her back, right? So that's tied to his religious fervor, wanting to get
Yeah.
something you can't have, you can't get any other way, which is a
Yeah.
common thing with that sort of thing. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting too. But Nuria's now seen this herself, right? So she kind of knows they're not all powerful. I think she
Yes.
understands they're not gods, but she doesn't understand the technology doesn't seem to have limit for her, and so she can't quite.
Until she sees that they
Yeah,
can't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just a really nice, I think, a really good thing to show in the episode. Because, like you said, like technology appears to be, they can fly through space, they could disappear and reappear. And like you say,
yes,
Liko had said they had brought me back to life. I had died.
yeah,
And she believes him, right? Like, so yeah, it was cool. It was cool that she didn't have that cognizance to be like, well, why can't you bring them back to life? Because obviously to us it sounds ridiculous, but after you imagine if we were sat with aliens right now, you know,
yeah, yeah.
um,
Um, yeah, I just like the whole bit with Nuri was. I mean, the whole episode's very solid, very watchable, engaging. You
yeah,
can't
but it's
really stop.
fantastic dialogue with Nuria.
Yeah,
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 100%.
Nuria is that's really solid. But
And
it
it's so
gets
good they put it in
it's
a
the
movie.
and the end the stuff after that is equally as good, but that
Yeah,
particular element is really solid. So in the end, Picard realizes this not got through, so he goes back to the planet with it. They beam down in the middle of the thunderstorm, so it looks very, God's
yeah.
descended on us kind of thing.
So
Um,
Liko's lost it. He's got a bow out now, and he's going, "I'm going to shoot the Troy," and
yeah,
everyone's like, "No, don't do it!
don't
You're
shoot the
crazy,
try,
man."
don't shoot the
And he's
try.
like, "It's fine. It'll appease Picard. Just let me shoot her." And if he was here, he would tell. If he didn't want me to do it, he'd tell me. And then Picard appears with Nuria, and he's like, "Liko,
Stop.
stop!"
Basically, he tries to
Oh,
convince him, and he even puts himself on the line. Liko's got his bow and arrow, and he says, "I am not a god. I am mortal, and
flesh, yeah, flesh and
if
blood,
I
yeah,
have to die to show you that, I will." And so
yeah,
Liko, now usually in stuff like this, there's pause for thought. There's a
yeah. He
consideration.
just nails him.
He just shoots him with the bow and arrow right in the
He's like,
chest. Oh
he's like,
my
okay, yeah, sure, you're,
god.
yeah,
Um,
amazing.
but then he sees him. Luckily, his daughter does shove him in the last second, so he doesn't. I think he was aiming for the heart, to be honest. But he,
Yeah, he
he
hits him in
still
the
gets it
shoulder. Yeah,
full in the. Yeah, I thought it was the lower chest, actually, but yeah, it could have been the shoulder.
yeah, it's like top. Yeah, it's like top left. But
Yeah,
it's like, I mean, Picard's not a young man, and I've
no.
got to say, taking an arrow to the shoulder's got to be
When
brutal.
you know a bit about Picard's history, it's amazing what he has survived, frankly.
Yeah,
He
it
was a bit
doesn't go
wilder
through
when he's
either.
younger.
It's
Yeah,
like a hunting bow, like because it doesn't just go through it, like proper sticks into him, so it's like
yeah,
barbs and all, like
yeah, yeah,
brutal.
yeah. It's not a long bow. It's a shorter bow.
Yeah.
So he goes down, but this is enough for Liko to say, yeah, he's not a god.
Yeah, Nuria sort of turns to him with her hand covered in blood. Look what you've done.
Look what you done. You just killed God. Uh, it's all that.
Yeah.
But the next scene, Picard's fine, right? It's like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
yeah, I've
mean,
been patched up, and yeah,
next
yeah,
gen technology, it's fine.
yeah. It's all good. Been in the back to tank. Oh no, wrong franchise.
Wrong film, wrong franchise. Yeah.
Yeah. So Picard does go back and starts to explain what's been going on, and
Well,
they're
he
like,
doesn't really
"What?"
explain anything, right? He
Well, he
just
does a
says,
bit. He says we've been watching, and they say, "Why have you been
"No,
watching
yeah,
us? Why are you interested in us?" And he's sort of saying, "We were you once, and seeing you makes us understand a bit better about ourselves." They're Vulcans. They totally get it. They anticipate things before he says them, right? He says,
mm,
"Oh, so it was a mistake." And it's like, yeah, So they're
hmm
clever people, right?
yeah,
Once it starts going back down the road of rational, he's kind of solved the problem. Other than they now are aware there's aliens, right? That's the only difference. But they're
yes,
Vulcans; they can handle that sort of thing, right?
yeah, yeah." And it's interesting because And that's the end of the episode, by the way. Yeah, once that all happens, and they're like, oh hey ho, we've done it. End of episode. I think it's interesting on a few levels because they, like you say, they've it was mentioned in the episode, this idea of the observer, and we've got rid of the observer. It's not something we believe in anymore. However, it is a story that has been passed on generation to generation to this elder, right?
Yeah,
So it is not culturally dead. It is still relevant in their culture. It's
yeah,
just that they don't quotes unquotes believe it, right? It's just a story to them.
yeah,
And that, if you draw the comparison to us, it's wizards, right?
yeah,
It's like maybe people once believed a wizard was possible, maybe, or whatever. But whenever it happened, culturally now we just believe wizards as fiction.
yeah. It's a story. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And if we saw something that looked like wizards now, I guess it's interesting, right? It's like, oh, you're going to believe in wizards now? Like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's kind of that sort of thing. But I'm like, yeah, I thought it was interesting. Like, could it just be that they might have fallen into this? Is this kind of theology inevitable? Um,
Well, they had it and have discarded it sensibly, right?
but
So,
what I say, but well, yeah, but discarded sensibly. What I'm saying is, it's still culturally there. It's still being passed
yeah, but
on. It's not.
it's not effect. They're not religious, are they? Yeah,
Mm,
in effect,
yeah,
the religion did not take hold, and that was the main important thing. Um,
yeah.
yeah, one of the things about this episode, this story, is it's very rewatchable. It kind of it bears rewatching, and it doesn't. It's not rich in that you get something new every time you watch it. It's just really
Mm,
fun to watch, and really interesting to watch.
yeah.
And I just like Ray Wise really helps, and I think Nuria, while she's sort of lower, not lower tier, lower energy. Well, that isn't
More
right either.
serious. It's more
Yeah,
serious
yeah,
energy. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Ray Wise is bringing the Ray Wise, right? So
He's bringing the Ray Wise, yeah, and
yes,
she's got that more serious leadership.
Ray
And
Wise is
that,
so watchable, man.
yeah, he
That's
is. And
yeah,
that scene with Nuria and Picard is so good, and they feed off each other's energy. There's this like, it starts off with her sort of bowing, and he's annoyed by that, and it becomes a conversation of equals. He slowly tilts that conversation to be a conversation of equals, and it's great. It's so good.
I like how
Because
he appeals to her rationality, and it's mostly working until it doesn't, right?
yeah, and it is
It
crafted
takes something
so.
more visceral to make it work, right?
Yeah, it's almost a conversation between a toddler, and you're trying to get them to understand something. But it becomes so much better than that because it becomes like I say, it becomes a conversation of I'm not better than you because I can fly a spaceship or I know what a hyperdrive is. We're a hyperdrive. Well, I've gone across franchise again. Uh, and he manages to bring that to like he doesn't see her as lesser than him, and you can tell that in the
Yeah, and I think
conversation that he's
and you can kind of tell
picks up on it.
she understands that too, right?
Yeah, it's so
As
good.
she is less in awe of him, she kind of it kind of gets more like a conversation between equals.
Yeah, because it
Um,
happens so much. Like you see it so many times where you see like maybe in even Doctor Who, right? Where it's like you're so far from the future, and then you go back in time to like Victorian, and they're like stupid,
mm,
and they're not rational. They're like, and you're just like, that's not how it was. Like people were still rational. Like, do
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? This like concept of like, uh, you know, sentient things just being stupid because they're in the past or they haven't been technologically advanced just doesn't track.
yeah, yeah.
I like that a lot.
One thing I'd forgotten, in fact, I don't remember it at all. I'm pretending I've forgotten. No, I don't remember it at all. But I'm kind of interested to see this episode. This particular event is mentioned in a great episode from season 4 called "The Drumhead." Um, where it's raised as a way to try and smear Picard's reputation as a and
Oh,
make
that's
him look like
right.
a traitor.
That's yeah.
You tried to elevate yourself as a god in this place,
Yes.
all that.
Yeah, that's right.
We got to get to the drumhead sometime. It's
Oh, for sure.
really interesting and it has a lot of cultural resonance to how things are now, actually.
Mm.
Not that we want to get political or anything, but it's just
Not right now.
it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to discuss that episode at some point, I think. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so this, as Pulaski was mentioned in this episode in turn gets mentioned in a later episode. Quite unusual, but yeah, I can see why. It's kind of fuel for people that don't like Picard, isn't it? Something like this, it would
That's right.
definitely.
And it fuels his character. I think later on, it really, like Picard really has issues with this God complex. He has,
Yes.
he doesn't want to be seen as superior. Um, he understands his role as a captain and command structure.
Yeah, and he just hates anyone trying to um leverage power using this is basically if he were to not be too bothered by this, it's because he likes the sense of power it would bring. He hates it. He
He
absolutely
hates it.
hates it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he hoards it. He absolutely abhors it. And yeah, it works really well. I think it's a really good character trait for him to have.
Yeah.
Because like you say, he's such a staunch advocate for like the command chain and
And and
but
and
he doesn't
and
abuse it.
the Federation as it was,
Yeah,
its
exactly.
founding principles.
And you can tell that you can tell he would never say it, but he dislikes the captains that might abuse their power, or maybe do things that he doesn't agree with, and that comes, like later on.
Yeah. I
It's
also
cool.
like the fact he takes some physical damage in this because physical damage is another thing that Picard sort of, it comes up throughout the series
Yeah,
and follow up series as well.
he's a badass.
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. I mean, well, it's a little spoiler, but for people that haven't watched a whole lot, but Picard survived being stabbed in the heart when he was young, right?
Hmm.
He's
Yeah,
he
yeah.
has taken physical damage, and it's interesting. I wonder how much it affects his personality. I also wonder. I'm trying to think when he becomes Borg. That's at the end of season 3, right? Um,
Oh yeah,
I wonder how that also affects his character going on, doesn't it? That whole thing,
yeah, yeah. Well,
how
we
he.
talked about it not so long ago,
Yeah,
didn't
we
we?
did,
The
we
Yeah.
did.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that stays with his character as it should do. Like it's one of the greatest moments of Star Trek, if not the greatest.
Mm.
Those two episodes.
A striking one, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of like this. I liked Riker's dodgy wig, notwithstanding. I
that
did
makes me
like the
laugh.
whole going down and sort of Troy and Riker trying to introduce rationality back uh, as part.
Yeah, just trying to resolve it in a different way. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sort of
cool.
saying, "Yeah, sure, surely it could be this, things like that." But yeah, it was a really neat clean episode. There was nothing in it that really rings false or feels excessive in any way. It was just good. It was just
Yeah,
good.
and when there's a first contact gone wrong episode, it always gets compared to this for me. I'm like, okay, did it do its thing as well as this one does? And it very rarely
Yeah,
does.
yeah. If you compare Insurrection to this, it's like Insurrection suffers from the
Mm,
comparison, frankly.
yeah, yeah, indeed.
But yeah,
And yeah, it's a great episode. I love it. And it's to be real with you, I think season three is one of the strongest seasons. I think season three and four are just, everybody's
they're very
locked
strong.
in.
Yeah,
They're very strong. Like you say, the characters are all formed. The full crew's here now. It kind of doesn't get messed with too much.
yeah. It's as I've
Yeah.
said in the past, though. I believe every season has two or three really excellent episodes, even one and two, which are often maligned. But I think there are some
Oh,
excellent
this
episodes.
without a doubt. Yeah, and we've talked
Uh,
about a few, right? I think.
yeah, we have. Um,
Um,
so
yeah.
okay. I think that we've chewed the gum on this. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that's it. I think yeah, we've mentioned everything. It's a great
Yeah,
episode.
looks good, well directed, well cast and acted, great script. I'm not familiar. I'm trying to figure out if the guys that wrote this, which is Richard Manning and Hans Bernier, did much else in next year. I'm not sure. Hans Bernier definitely did some Deep Space Nine stuff. I
Oh,
think.
right.
But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, but this is a pretty much a must watch, isn't it, really? If you're cherry picking. Um,
I would say so. I would say definitely in the because again the Prime Directive gets talked about a lot, but it's a story of it's just like Asimov's laws. It's just a bunch of books about how Asimov's laws fail. Star Trek is a whole bunch of stories about how the Prime Directive goes wrong.
yeah,
Often, you
yeah.
rarely see it go right.
Well, the thing is, the problem with a lot of episodes is they basically ignoring the Prime Directive and no one says anything. At least this one is really focused on um, dealing with the Prime Directive when it's fouled. Yeah, when you fail to fulfill it, what do you do to remedy that?
Yeah,
Um,
and to the point where the captain's like, well, hey, wait, why won't you go down and save him? And Picard's like, well, if you remember, when we agreed to be members of the Federation, we said we would protect the Prime Directive with our lives if necessary, and he knew that going in. And you're like, damn, Picard's serious about this. He might not, he might not go and save him,
Yeah.
which is cool.
One thing we I think we touched on briefly, not very, but a bit. The head of the anthropological sort of group actually suggests he goes down and embraces what they think just to save someone. And
Yeah,
Picard is like really angry about that entire idea. That
that's right.
bit perhaps didn't feel so ring true. I can't believe a head of an anthrop would even, suggest such a thing. But it's
Yeah, it
part of the
did.
drama of
Yeah,
this episode, right? Yeah.
yeah. I guess they couldn't, because, like you say, he suggests things that I don't think a researcher of that ilk would. But then, how
It's
do you?
desperate to save someone, right? Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, and he does. They do try and save face by making it really clear that he loves these people. That his doc, they're not just colleagues to him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they try and explain it that way. But yeah, he makes some very odd calls. Um,
But it
but
gives
he
us a
has to
chance
be the
to see
voice.
Picard being
Exactly.
outraged. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
he has to be
always
the conversation. It works. It works. I didn't really think about it in the episode, but yeah, it was.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool.
I
It's
mean, I
cool.
feel like I'm nitpicking there, right? It's part of the
Mm.
drama of the episode. But that's I was saying earlier. I don't think any of this didn't ring true, but maybe that bit didn't. But it didn't really matter. It was
Yeah,
part of
I must
driving.
admit, maybe a holographic thing in the cliff is perhaps not the best way to do this when you've got superior technology. I mean, we talk about aliens, right? You could just sit in orbit and see everything going on. Like, why do you need to
Yeah,
be
I'll
on
build
the planet
a
with a
proper
telescope?
hide that doesn't need a hologram. That's another possibility,
Yeah.
right?
But then,
um,
the generator
Because they
explodes
were
and kills everyone.
there was a bit of technobabble earlier. Because why do they need that much power to and they start
Yeah, they're
explaining
explaining
what could
to
it be,
the
and Geordie's
audience.
like, oh, it's a duck hide, right? I got it, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy because as if duck hunting is a thing that humanity is doing
Yeah,
in the like what are you talking about?
so
Like
nineties, so nineties, right?
yeah.
Right,
That happens so much with TNG where they're just talking about like obviously a current cultural thing as if everyone on that ship would know about it and it's like it would be like a historian's thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny when you hear phrases that are very, very, they're just
Dated.
inexplicable to anyone. Not date is necessary, but just very, very specific. And they're talking to aliens, and the aliens are. I'll give you an example. I was watching Babylon 5, and he was talking to an alien that humans have just encountered, and they're sort of talking about stuff. And the captain says, "Yeah, let's keep this on the QT, shall we?" And it's like, and I remember thinking, An alien wouldn't know what on earth he's talking about there. So that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Sort of weird turns of phrases that they always kind of make me chuckle a bit because it's like, yeah, an alien race wouldn't know what on earth you meant by that, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
anyway,
Anyway.
right. I think we kind of wound up then. So
Yeah,
that
100%.
winds up this episode. So to all our listeners, peace and long life.
Live long and prosper.